Welcome to Understanding Human Anatomy. In this video, I want to continue the discussion of the ankle and foot, and in particular talk about the arches of the foot. And we're going to do this by looking at the skeleton of the foot from the medial and lateral points of view. And in fact, we will find that there are actually two arches, a medial arch and a lateral arch. The medial arch being significantly higher than the lateral arch. And we'll look at that first. So we'll look at a medial view of the foot. And we'll start, as I started the earlier diagrams, with the calcaneus, the heel bone. And the calcaneus is approximately this shape. And then I want to sketch in the navicular bone. Right here. And then the talus will fit in this position. So there's the talus. Then from the navicular we'll have the medial cuneiform bone, here, and then we'll have the first metatarsal, here, then the proximal phalange of the first digit, and then the distal phalange of the first digit. So, with the bones drawn in, I want to next put labels on our diagram, as I had done previously. So we'll label the bones, and we'll start with the calcaneus. Calcaneus, and then the talus, the navicular, the first cuneiform, the first metatarsal, the proximal phalange, and the distal phalange. So here are the tarsal bones that are visible from this medial view: calcaneus, talus, navicular, and cuneiform 1. Then the metatarsal. Notice that the calcaneus and the metatarsal are flat on the surface, and then the phalanges of the first digit continue on the surface, and that we have an arch in this region. Let me indicate the arch with a line going from the metatarsal to the calcaneus, and then we'll bend the line to show the arch. So here is the medial arch. And the talus is actually the keystone of the arch. Or the central bone of the arch, the bone that everything draws upon. And the arch is supported by ligaments. And we'll see the ligaments better in later videos, looking at the plantar surface of the foot and ankle. The primary ligament that supports the arch is one called the spring ligament. And the arch is extremely important in the mechanics of walking, locomotion, because with each step, all the body's weight comes down on the calcaneus and then the first metatarsal, which would provide a sharp jolt through the body. With this arch supported by a ligament that runs along the line of this line I've drawn here, showing or emphasizing the arch, what happens is the arch of the foot flattens out slightly, absorbing that shock, and then rebounds. So it acts as a shock absorber. Without the arch, walking for any distance at all becomes extremely painful. So this is the medial arch of the foot. The arch, therefore, acts like the leaf spring on the underside of your automobile that cushions the ride as the wheels bump over the surface. The spring absorbs that shock so that it's not passed directly to you riding in the car. Now, this shows the medial arch of the foot. Now, before I move to a lateral view of the foot and ankle, I want to sketch in the base of the tibia so that we complete our view of the ankle. We'll bring the tibia down and its inferior extension on the medial side, the medial malleolus. And since the medial malleolus will be covering up our view of the superior part of the talus where the articulation comes in, let me erase that out of there. And then we'll add a couple of labels. The tibia, and then down here the medial malleolus. Now, looking at the foot from the lateral point of view, we'll again start with the calcaneus. We'll see the talus. Then we have the cuboid. Then we'll have metatarsal number 5. Here. And then the phalanges for the 5th digit. So there'll be 3, a proximal, a middle, and a distal phalange. So again, let me add labels to our diagram. We'll start by labeling the heel, the calcaneus. And then the talus. The cuboid, the 5th metatarsal, the proximal phalange, the middle phalange, and the distal phalange. Again, I want to show an arch. So let me draw the line here for the base of the floor and then bend it into the arch. And the arch on the lateral side is much flatter. It does not have to bear as much of the weight as the medial arch does. And in fact, if anything, I've exaggerated the lateral arch's curvature slightly. So we have the lateral arch. The lateral arch functions along with the medial arch to provide a spring for absorbing the stress with each step. It also is held together by ligaments running on the plantar surface, and is also helped out by a tendon of peroneus longus or fibularis longus. Now last, I want to sketch in the fibula and the medial malleolus. So let me bring the fibula down. Like so. And again, the fibula will block our view of the talus. So I'll erase the talus out of there. And just so we don't get confused, I'll get rid of the label on the talus. And then I will add a couple of labels. I will add the fibula. I will add the lateral malleolus. And I will put a label in for the talus so we don't forget which bone it is. And except now I have to draw a line to it. So this is the skeletal anatomy of the ankle and foot when viewed from the lateral side. That will conclude our discussion of the skeletal anatomy of the ankle and foot. Thank you for your attention.